They declared my house a stain on their flawless neighborhood and set it ablaze. But 3 months later, they learned I was the federal judge who'd caged corrupt officials for 2 decades. Now standing in the blackened ruins of my living room where the acrid reek of wet ash clings like a whispered betrayal, the wind shrieking through splintered oak beams as shards of glass crunch. Beneath my boots, fragments of windows that once captured Golden Valley sunsets now reduced to jagged memories. Security footage unmasking HOA President Catherine Harrow directing a so-called controlled burn for fabricated fire code violations despite my home passing every inspection with flying colors. Their catastrophic mistake being they never bothered to ask what I did for a living. I'm James Whitaker, 58, a retired federal judge yearning for peace after a grueling career, swapping black robes for flannel shirts to settle into my grandfather's 40-acre ranch in Willow Creek, Oregon, a haven of pine-laced air and boundless promise. Owned by my family since 1948, long before the concept of HOAs tainted the landscape, I'd poured 2 years into transforming the weathered cabin into a sustainable sanctuary, solar panels gleaming under the sun, rainwater systems humming efficiently, and an organic garden bursting with tomatoes and zucchini that could feed a small village, the kind of place where morning coffee on the porch, steam curling in the crisp dawn, felt like a sacred ritual. Until Catherine Harrow, 50, stormed onto my property like a corporate warlord, a real estate tycoon with a sleek Porsche that purred menace, her platinum hair glinting like a blade as she surveyed my land with predatory eyes. She'd clawed her way to control of the Willow Creek HOA 3 years earlier, driven by a multi-million-dollar deal with Summit Development Corp. My 40 acres their golden ticket to a $2 million luxury subdivision if they could just evict the stubborn mountain man who dared to live authentically. Her opening salvo was a violation notice branding my eco-friendly setup an aesthetic nuisance that dragged down property values. I chuckled, wiping grease from my hands after fine-tuning the solar array, and presented my ironclad property deeds, predating her HOA by decades. Her smile flickered like a faulty bulb as she retreated, her designer heels clicking on my gravel drive like the ticking of a time bomb. Then the onslaught began, a deluge of baseless complaints, septic violations that didn't exist, zoning infractions that defied logic, claims of unpermitted structures despite my meticulous permits, all swatted down by perplexed county inspectors who left my property shaking their heads. Catherine upped the ante, serving a lawsuit during my grandson's 8th birthday party. The gall of a process server interrupting the laughter of kids chasing balloons to allege my rainwater system was draining the neighborhood's wells, a claim so scientifically absurd it would have made a hydrologist laugh, since every home had its own independent well. Channel 5 spun it into a vicious smear. Reclusive rancher hoards water, threatening community. The broadcast's ominous music fueling whispers among neighbors, oblivious that they were targeting a judge who'd dismantled cartels and sent governors to federal prison. I didn't survive 20 years on the bench by cowering before bullies. My career forged in courtrooms where I'd stared down mob lawyers and corporate titans. So I plunged into the county archives, the musty scent of yellowed files and flickering fluorescent lights my new battlefield, unearthing Catherine's real estate license scarred by 3 ethics violations, her partner's Summit Development entangled in a web of city council bribes through shell companies like Creek Ventures Incorporated, HOA ledgers exposing $180,000 in missing funds siphoned to accounts tied to Catherine. I filed a countersuit for harassment, defamation, and financial mismanagement, leveraging old judicial connections to secure Judge Elena Carter, a no-nonsense arbiter who loathed frivolous lawsuits. At the hearing, Catherine's attorney, Edward Langley III, strutted in, his tailored suit radiating arrogance, expecting to steamroll a backwoods retiree. But my legal briefs were razor-sharp, my evidence, a hydrogeological report proving independent wells, bulletproof. Judge Carter dismissed their case with prejudice, awarding me $14,000 in legal fees. Catherine's rage erupted in the courthouse parking lot, her voice a venomous hiss. "You think you're clever, Judge Nobody? I'll bury you." Her threat captured on my dashcam, a rookie blunder that would unravel her. She retaliated by cutting my power, citing emergency repairs that never materialized. and blocked my driveway with endless roadwork, stranding delivery trucks and forcing me to hike through the woods with groceries, the diesel fumes from idle construction rigs choking the air. Her cousin Mark Grayson at the EPA launched a sham investigation into my solar panels for non-existent groundwater contamination, the absurdity mounting like the dust on my untouched mailbox. I transformed my garage into a war room, walls draped with evidence boards, red string weaving her crimes into a damning tapestry. Clara Hensley, a 74-year-old retired librarian with a gaze sharp enough to cut steel, delivered a treasure trove, the HOA's original charter shielding my land from retroactive rules and covert recordings of Catherine's threats to foreclose neighbors over trivialities like flower beds or unapproved mailbox colors. My old FBI contacts traced her smear campaign. Fake social media posts branding me a corrupt judge to her office IP address. Neighbors rallied at my weekend barbecues, the sizzle of burgers and shared outrage drawing dozens. Elderly Mrs. Hadley revealing a $7,000 fine for her vegetable patch. The Lopez family nearly losing their home over unauthorized roof tiles. Young couples driven out by ever-shifting aesthetic rules. We built a class action case exposing Catherine's systematic targeting of elderly and minority residents, a clear violation of the Fair Housing Act. Her desperation hit a fever pitch when she hired Jake Russo, a disgraced contractor with a rap sheet for cutting corners, paying him $12,000 to ignite an accidental fire during a windstorm. His ex-girlfriend Tina tipped off Detective Ray Malone, my late brother's partner, who orchestrated a sting with federal agents. I evacuated to my daughter's home in Portland, leaving feds to monitor my ranch with hidden cameras at 3 a.m. Jake doused my home with accelerants, flames devouring 20 years of memories, family photos, my grandfather's old rifle, my late wife's handwritten letters. The fires roar a gut punch as embers lit the night sky. Fire crews let it burn just long enough to secure irrefutable evidence. Arresting Jake as ashes settled, he flipped faster than a plea deal, exposing Catherine's explicit orders to frame my solar panels as the cause. Bank records confirming her $12,000 cash withdrawal the day before, her Channel 5 interview accusing me of torching my own home for insurance fraud, sealing a defamation charge. The town hall was a powder keg, 500 residents packed shoulder to shoulder, cameras capturing every heartbeat. Catherine strutted in wearing a navy suit, playing the persecuted victim, her composure a brittle facade. But I took the podium, my voice steady with 2 decades of courtroom gravitas. I'm federal Judge James Whitaker, and I've sent criminals like Catherine Harrow to prison for 20 years. Her face drained to ghost white as I played her recorded bribe, $100,000 to sell my land, followed by financial records, forged petition signatures, and her taped plot with Thomas Carver Jr. of Summit to rezone my land for profit. The auditorium screens blazing with evidence of her $180,000 theft through Creek Ventures Incorporated. She leaped up, shrieking, "He's a corrupt liar." But the crowd's boos drowned her, security escorting her out as her voice echoed into humiliated silence. U.S. Attorney Laura Benson stepped forward, announcing a 50-count federal indictment for arson, wire fraud, mail fraud, conspiracy, and civil rights violations. Catherine was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison with no parole, ordered to pay $2.5 million in restitution. Jake Russo got 10 years for arson conspiracy. Thomas Carver Sr. and Jr. faced 12 and 15 years for fraud and bribery. Mark Grayson received 5 years for abusing his EPA authority. Their empire crumbled faster than my burned home. I rebuilt my ranch, stronger, fireproofed, with a community center where neighbors gather for potlucks and book clubs, no longer fearing HOA retaliation. The Willow Creek Fund, seated with $450,000 in recovered HOA funds plus national donations, now scholarships local kids, prioritizing those pursuing law, journalism, or public service. Property values in Willow Creek soared as the valley became a national symbol of resistance. My book, Justice on the Range, hit bestseller lists, sparking HOA reform laws across 14 states, mandating transparency, democratic elections, and criminal background checks for board members. My morning coffee now tastes of hard-won victory on my rebuilt deck, the valley aglow with dawns. Golden promise, neighbors hosting festivals, kids laughing in community gardens, the scars of Catherine's tyranny fading like smoke on the wind, my daughter Emily, a lawyer in Portland. Join me to launch a nonprofit advising homeowners against HOA abuse. We married last spring in the community center, surrounded by neighbors turned family, the sizzle of barbecue and children's laughter a testament to our triumph. Willow Creek's solar cooperative slashes energy costs. Our gardens feed the local food bank, proving sustainability and community can coexist. My speaking tours at law schools and civic groups spread lessons of resilience. Congress invited me to testify on HOA oversight, leading to a Federal Trade Commission task force on nationwide abuses. The ripple effects stretching far beyond our valley. Yet as I sip coffee, watching the sunrise paint the hills, I wonder if exposing Catherine was enough. Her crimes tore our community's soul. Yet rebuilding forged bonds stronger than ever. Was 18 years justice for arson, or should I have pushed for life to deter future tyrants? Where's the line between vengeance and accountability when your home burns to ash? Share your HOA horror stories below. Did I go too far? What's true justice in neighborhood battles? Like, subscribe. Join the fight against petty tyrants who think they can own your dreams.